let me turn on my lights over here. Gotta scooch down. Jump up on my bed. Get under my blankets. I have so many blankets now. Oh, where's my drink? Oh, it's in the window. Okay. Hello, everybody. There's nobody here yet, but that's okay. I don't know. I guess I'm going to just talk about random stuff. I was just watching Joy Reid live. My kids are with their dad for another hour and a half for their Wednesday night dinner. I really need some lotion. My hands are super dry. Let's see. I have some lotion in my bag. So, hi guys. Hello, my sweet peaches. Just put some lip balm on. This is a vegan organic lip balm, Dr. Bronner. Anyway, how are you guys? Excuse me for rubbing my eye. See if we have any water in this bag. Oh, here's my lotion. My skin food. So, what's going on with you guys? There's so much shit going on in the world. This is a cute blanket. There's so much shit going on. There's the illegal war in Iran. There's the Epstein files. Hey, Princess Shiloh Taylor 2007. I'm about to put some lotion on. So I kind of wanted to talk, though, about the fact that I am single and not willing or ready to mingle. Walida, skin food. So anyone that follows me or watches me that's a man, I'm not a man hater. Please don't take this personal if this does not apply to you. But as a single mom of 2 teenagers who's been single for 12 years now, yes, it's a long ass time, I have to say that I have absolutely no desire to date. Every year that I continue being single reinforces my desire to stay single. And there's so much stuff out there. There's so many creators out there who talk about either married life or dating coach kind of stuff. And then, of course, there's the people who talk about how stressful their life is with their men. And, well, the reason that I said I'm not a man hater is because I also sort of hate men. Like, I'm a single woman. I work hard. I raise my 2 children. Like I just said, their dad is with them right now. They sleep over Friday night. They come back Saturday. Why do you hate men? I hate men. I don't really hate men, but I would hate a man for me. Why? Because men suck. Men are raised to be not helpful. I've seen so many comments about like men who think that because they earn money and maybe like get an oil change in their car and mow the lawn a couple times in the summer, that absolves them of any. What time is it here? It is 7:23 p.m. They think that that's enough. And so I am not married. I am single, like I just said. I've been single since 2014. I made the choice at the time that as a single mom of 2 young boys, I had no interest in trying to date. It's 6 where you are? How can it be 6? You mean 6:23? And I just wanted to focus on number 1, raising my children. Number 2, figuring out how to earn a living as a single mom, raising 2 little ones. And that was my focus. I had no interest in trying to meet someone or get to know somebody new. Hi, Mars, sunshine. It's 7:24 for you. Oh, so yeah, same time. And the other thing was that I had a lot of healing to do. So the one chunk of healing is my childhood, extreme childhood trauma. Another major chunk was that my relationship that ended, me and my baby's daddy, we had been together for 8 years. We had been high school sweethearts many years prior. We'd broken up right after high school, and then we were like friends with benefits on and off for quite a few years. And then we started dating. We got back together. We had 2 babies. We lived together, and we ultimately never wanted to get engaged. We were not compatible enough. And then we ultimately consciously uncoupled. And we were toxic as fuck. You're in LA. Hi, Tiny Let Loose. That's a cute name. I don't know what you mean by that. I have lived in LA. I lived in LA for 3.5, almost 4 years, actually. And then when I moved back is when me and my now ex had gotten back together. And there was so much toxicity in that relationship. So when we consciously uncoupled, my primary focus at that time was, I mean you need a brother? I have 2 brothers, thank you. And a brother-in-law. So anyways, what I was trying to say is, like, I just wanted to be a mom, earn money, and heal. And I had no interest in actually trying to date anybody. I was also obsessed with a specific person from my past who was 99.9% absent from my life. And so at the time, I didn't realize that the obsession was part of a coping mechanism that I had formed many years ago, where I was like obsessed with the fantasy of someone, like limerence, rather than trying to like interact with somebody real. And that coping mechanism really benefited me because I was nowhere near ready to actually date somebody. But I went through a period of like, I'm trying to manifest a specific person, which ultimately what I came to realize was that the specific person that we should be trying to manifest is ourselves. And that you are the person who's with you every second of every day, every breath you take, everything you do and don't do. It's you. And so by trying to manifest yourself, what I mean by that is work on yourself. Work on making yourself your best friend. You love my room. Thank you, Karina. Navzo 5. Why? So all of the qualities that you feel like you really need or want or desire or long for in a partner, work on developing those characteristics in yourself. How old am I? I am 52 years old. Hello, baby user moo 8 blah 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 blah. All of the qualities that you wish that you could have in a partner, develop those to yourself. Mr. How To 13, shout out, big shout out, like Mark Thompson. if you focus all of your energy on manifesting, I literally just shouted you out. Can you not hear me? If you focus on manifesting the qualities that you desire in a romantic partner into yourself, you will eventually be a lot happier of a person. And also, you will realize that a lot of the things that you think you need in a partner, you will realize that you can develop those qualities in yourself. And excuse me for a moment. One moment. Let me chew this up. Hi, Catherine Hathaway. We have the same name and the same spelling. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. It's the best name in the world. It means pure. So anyway, what I was saying is like the idea of dating. I unloaded the dishwasher and dryer and still no idea what you're talking about. The thing is, a lot of men are mediocre at best. Men in this society, in the which country are you from? I am in the US. I'm in the northeast coast of the USA. And the way that men are raised in this country is shit. I feel like men are raised to like hate women. Excuse me, please hold. Men are not raised to be user friendly. Men are taught, like cisgender men are taught the stupidest shit. The macho idea of how men are supposed to behave, the idea of like masculine jobs, feminine jobs, the idea that a man is like, I love this quote. Somebody's like, men are, first of all, men act like they're supposed to be the provider and the protector, but then they turn around and they are obsessively concerned about somebody going out with them for money that they don't even have. I was quasi raised by a single mom. What does that mean? What do you mean quasi raised? What does that even mean? You know, I just feel like the longer I've gone without dating, the longer I've gone without a romantic kind of partner, the more I feel sure I just don't have room or time or desire for that in my life. Like, I just, the little bit of free time that I have, I want to use completely selfishly in the ways that I want to. I have two young boys. I don't have to, but I choose to drive them to school in the morning and then come home. I work from home. Then I've got tons of stuff to do. I have lots of chores, running around, errands. I have clients to work for. 25. Yes, 25 times 2 plus 2. Thank you. It must just be the pink lighting. So I'm super busy all the time. To be honest, at this very moment, I should not be on a live on YouTube. I should be working on a video that I have to edit for a client. But I was just like so tired and I've been running around all day and I was just like, I just want to climb in my bed and get under my heating blanket and just jump on a live and say, fuck men. Of course, if you are a subscriber, if you follow me, I know there are several men that have been following me for a long time. I love you. I am so grateful for you. I don't mind being friends with men. I work with men. Like I said, I've got brothers and a brother-in-law. My children are boys. I've got quite a few nephews. I love them. I love them dearly. I enjoy my conversations. I love hanging out. I'm too busy being beautiful. Thank you. But when it comes to the idea of, so there's another pillar, like I was saying, the one main reason why I wasn't interested in dating when I got single was because I wanted to just focus on raising my children. The other pillar was because I was focusing on earning a living. And then the other pillar is that I've had a lot of trauma being essayed as a child, which is among other kinds of abuse as a child, as an adolescent, and then in my 20s and 30s, I had a lot of traumatic attempts of relationships. Thank you so much. These are I call them festive lights because I leave them up all year long. What is your content? I'm new here. Hello, the genuine she. No, the genius she. My content, I talk a lot about, well, I talk about kind of random stuff, but the main focus is I talk about healing from trauma, which is kind of what I'm talking about right now. I talk about manifesting yourself. Manifesting is just a fancy word for living and like doing. It looks like a Stranger Things room. I have not watched that show. I'm very, very particular and sensitive with shows. And my brother had mentioned a while back that he mentioned the show and he was like, don't try to watch it though, because it's not going to be your kind of thing. It's going to be. So, like, I haven't watched it, but I know it's very popular. So, thanks, I guess. I'm like, I'm a hypersensitive person. In like my skin is hypersensitive, my hearing, my vision, my taste, like I said, my touch. I'm also very hypersensitive with like watching violent things. You actually look kind of like the mother in the show. I don't know. I don't know who that is. So again, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. So it's not that I never watch things that have violence and guns, but I do keep it to like limited. I also never watch like horror. My name is Kat. I'm Kat Love Dreaming Peach. Who the fuck is that behind you? What's behind me? Tell me. Have you watched The Rookie? I haven't. I don't think so. What's that about? Is that like a sports show? It is she. Someone. Girl, fuck you. You bitch. I'm literally telling you, like, I don't watch horror. I like will have a nightmare so easily. So I don't watch like psychological horror shit. Like I just don't. I'm gonna block you, bitch. So yeah. So anyway, back to what I was saying about not dating. I mean, are there any men here? Can you give me a single reason why a woman should try to date a man? And I'm not talking about like gay, lesbian stuff. You don't look pretty. Hello, Kat. Why do I do these streams? Because I feel like it. That's why. Because I can and I want to. I look cute. Thank you. Wait, you just said I don't look pretty. Whatever. Why do you feel like you need to comment on my looks? You know, I'm not here. See, that's why I'm saying men suck. Men are stupid. Men are idiots. Men live by the weaponized incompetence. Men think that women are their slaves. Men think that housework is woman's work, and they're stupid and ignorant. Why would I want to date somebody who's just going to be in my space and taking up my free time, trying to impose their desires where I don't need to? This is what I'm saying. Once a woman gets to a certain age, and I don't need nobody to show up. You're missing the point. I am not okay. I don't go for religious zealots. So this is the thing that a lot of men just truly cannot comprehend, that a lot of women would rather be alone. And like you say, sounds like you're going to be a cat lady then. Is that an insult? Like, do you really think that that's some kind of loss? I don't have a cat. I have had cats. I just don't particularly care for having animals in my house. I'm vegan. I don't eat animals. I don't wear animals. I'm not entertained by animals. And I'm not interested in having a furry creature shitting in my house. I would rather be alone 100%, but if I like someone, why not give it a try? But well, see, that's the beauty of freedom. If that's your feelings and that's your sense, then go for it. Why would I not give it a try? No, furry friends are fine, but I just don't want one. I am a man and I'd rather be alone, to be honest. I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I mean, there are, like, I like romance. Most of the shows that I watch or movies that I watch are like romantic kind of stuff because it's a nice fantasy. It's a lovely fantasy. It's entertaining. And another reason why I like that stuff is because it's, you know, there's not a lot of like shooting and killing in romantic comedies and romantic shows. You know, not that there's never, but I want to be doing those mean comments because I know how that feels. I'm not sure if that's what you meant to say. But so like my life is super busy. I wake up early, I take my kids to school, I come home, I have chores to do, errands to run, I work for my clients, and then you know, I got to go to bed, wake up and do it all over again. And you see what a loser you are? You pick me, Nick, pick me, Nick. And that's another thing. This is you're making a perfect example of why I hate men and I think that men are losers, because you're so immature and stupid. You're so like incapable of realizing that a woman, or it doesn't matter, you know, whatever, a grown up who is happy and content and enjoying life, there's no actual need to have a romantic partner. But see, the way society has raised you, stupid fucking idiots, is that you think that a woman is there to do work for you. The majority of romantic relationships are really unpaid labor traps for women. Hello, Jada. I meant I don't want to do those mean comments because I know how that feels. Okay, so don't. Thank you. Hi. Romantic relationships. No, it doesn't go both ways. Romantic relationships are labor traps for women. I haven't got time for a lady. I'm busy and won't give her the time and respect she deserves. That's a good reason. The hatred is leaving dark spots under your eyes. Actually, I think that's just because I have like eye sockets. Okay, so I will yeet you because you are a loser. So, but of course, men are gonna like some men are gonna get upset for me to say this, but I've been seeing like a variety of different kind of videos out there, and I just kind of wanted to like put my own thoughts out there. Like the modern woman is self-sufficient. She's busy, she's ambitious, she's got friends, she's got hobbies, she's got work, she's got a life. Sometimes, like me, I've got children. I was in a relationship with my baby's daddy for 8 years. We didn't get married. We lived together. And then, we determined we were not compatible to continue being romantic. And when we consciously uncoupled, I made my life choices around my children, my own well-being, my mental well-being, my emotional well-being, my physical well-being, my spiritual well-being, and work, learning how to do the things that I love to do to get paid and getting paid doing those things. Well, thank you for being here. It sounds like you're quite young, Reagan Olivars. Good luck on your test tomorrow, and I hope you hit subscribe and hit like, and that you'll be back sometime soon. So, the longer I've been single, the more sure I feel about this single lifestyle and how there's so much freedom involved. Now, I was talking about romantic relationships are labor traps for women. Now, does that mean, for me, I think I don't want to put myself in any boxes. Like, yes, I totally agree with you. Life seems good alone and I don't feel like needing someone, but if it happens, I won't say no. I mean, that's great. I also feel like, if I somehow were to meet some kind of like incredible unicorn of a man and, what's up, everyone? Happy Wednesday, happy hump day, happy let's not hump day. You know, if I met some magical guy somehow and I was like, oh, he seems cool to get to know, then at that time, maybe I would. But I'm in the mind state of I have no desire. So when I go out and about, I'm not like giving men longing looks. I'm not like batting my eyelashes. I hope you're lying, girl, because you need to get the heck off of YouTube live streams if you're only 10 years old. Please say you're lying. You're a minor and you cannot be here. So please self yeet off of here if you're only 10 years old. Like, where's your mother? Come on. But, okay, so back to the topic of, so I did not come up with the term labor digger. There is a term, many of you have probably heard, gold digger, which is a very sexist idea that women are out there wanting men for their money, right? So someone, and I wish that I could have remembered her name, coined the term labor digger, which is a term that really perfectly describes a lot, if not the majority, if not almost all men, at least in the United States, which is that they have this idea, and again, an idea that they were raised with. Now, again, are there some men that don't fall into this category? Yes. I believe it's like 2%, 5% of men. A very, 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 very small percentage of men who work hard, who have no interest in a woman to be a free laborer. But those are the unicorns who have, somehow risen above the majority of what most people learn in this country and in many other countries as well, which is that it's a woman's job to cook, to clean, to take care of the children. And I already do that. I am doing that now. But what I'm not going to do is have some motherfucking crusty ass man up in here eating and drinking and wearing clothes and making a mess and peeing and pooping and shitting and showering and all the things, and have some kind of expectation that I am supposed to be cleaning up after him. I have no interest in some motherfucker who's like, I'm the man of the castle. I'm the head of the household. Fuck you, fuck off, go to hell, drop dead. No, 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 no. And I've also learned that a lot of men would not expect that they actually believe those things. A lot of men would self-describe themselves as, oh, but I don't believe that. I don't think that way. I would never be like that in a relationship. But that's how they were raised. That's the society that they were raised in. And it does feel amazing. It feels so amazing to be single. The lifestyle of freedom to come and go as you please. Now, again, I can only come and go as I please to a limited degree because I have young minor children that I'm raising. So that is my responsibility. Of course, they're growing and they're eventually going to go off to university or whatever they're going to do. And my life will shift. And you are a scumbag. Let's delete this piece of shit. Why are see, men are so fucking creepy. You're creepy. You're dangerous. You're unsafe. You are, again, actively seeking someone to be your fucking maid. And that, like, did you see that fucking pick me Nick guy? And he's like, oh, but did he pay the bills? There you go. Another fucking example of how absolutely fucking stupid and moronic men are. That is a great angel. Sorry. What are you talking about? I have no idea what you're talking about. Life doesn't come with a rule book. People don't know how to act. Nobody. Yep. Today you choose the choice. You know what? Pick me, Nick. Pick me, pathetic Nick. What's your point? You are a perfect example, it seems, of a fucking loser. You don't think that women's money, like, for some man to say, did he pay the bills? You're proving my point. There are so many men out there who fucking think that just because they go to work and they pay a few little bills, that they can come home and be waited on hand and foot. And you are a perfect example of the fucking men that are such losers. And a fucking asshole like you would never get the time of day from me. Because who needs a headache? Who needs a grown ass motherfucking man who is unwilling to do the work that you need to do, and then you think that because you have a little bit, a couple of dollars paying a fucking little bill, that somehow absolves you? Your brain is mush, and you are a loser. And you are a perfect example of why I advise women to stay single. Don't bother dating a man. Hey, some people are like so sexual and you really want sex and you just, you know, it's not enough for you to just, you know, do some stuff on your own or whatever. And, you know, I've never been obsessed with having sex. I've never minded going without. Now that I've been celibate for so long, I just love it. I mean, and it's funny because when I was younger, at some point in my 20s, you know, yes, of course, I did imagine like, oh, I want my partner to be, I want us to be so hot for each other and all this stuff and the passion and this and that. And then I actually thought like it would never, yeah, fuck you. You're gone. Goodbye. I don't need a loser like you on my channel. Okay? Some people are like, leave trolls there, let them comment, it improves engagement. I just don't have time for that. I just ignore, yeet, and delete. That's what I just want to do. And I gave that pick me Nick a little bit of my energy, but fuck off. Did you see what he said? I deleted it. If a man is going to work and the lady's staying at home, then she should be doing. Fuck off. Just fuck off. You're so stupid. You are such a loser. You are a labor digger. You think that you're more valuable. Like, I was a stay-at-home mom for 6 years. When I first got pregnant, I had a job and I was commuting and going into the city and taking the subway and walking and doing all the stuff, fully pregnant. I am telling you how I feel. And I literally went to work up until I was in labor. Now, labor starts out for some people very slow. My first baby, it was like 36 hours of labor. So when I woke up in the morning, I was like, I kind of feel funny. But I went to work anyway because I wanted every drop of my maternity leave, I wanted it to be with my baby. So I was like, I'm not going to take any time off until the baby comes. Hello, Wyatt Murphy. So I literally went to work and I had like waves going up and down my thighs. And then by like 10:30, I was like, I'm going to go home. And I walked to the subway, took the subway, walked home, and went into labor. And so I had the job. And then my boyfriend did not have a job. I say, all you got to do is care for my kids, the house, take care of the bills, and I work. Sounds great until the woman realizes she's trapped. Exactly. I do what I want, when I want, with whom I choose. I don't ask permission or have to apologize or explain. That's right. And you're right, John Smith. My boyfriend was at the time like, so I was working and I got like, was it like 12 weeks I got with the baby. And so I went back to work. And do I have a favorite car? I do have a favorite car. A Jeep Grand Cherokee from like 1991. And so that is the most important thing. Begin comfy and happy. What is the point of having a man if he's going to make my life worse? Was not the point of love relationships to be happier? Exactly. So there I was with my baby. And the guy was like, I also like the Volvos that were like the Volvo station wagon from the early 90s. I have a Subaru Forester though. So he's like, oh, I want you, he's like, I think I should be going to work and you can stay at home with the baby. And I was like, actually, well, I want to stay home with the baby. And he ended up getting, but then I had to go back to work and I was nursing, I was pumping, I was taking the bus and the train, I was walking, I was commuting. It was so fucking exhausting. And then he ended up getting a job and I ended up staying at home. And so this is the thing that like stupid pick me loser men like that guy Nick that I just yeeted, they have no fucking concept of how much work is involved with staying at home. They hear the word staying at home and in their little pea brain loser mind, they're like, oh, she's just chilling at home. She's at home. Therefore, what she's doing is not important. It's not really work. It's not valuable. She's not getting an income. Therefore, it's not valuable. And then they think like Tom said, you get trapped because they tell you like, oh no, you should stay at home with the kid. And then you start staying home with the kid and it's so fucking exhausting and it's physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically fucking draining and exhausting. And then, if you have one of these unicorn men who come home from work and then they like help take over, maybe you can regain some kind of like fucking humanness. But like in my case, no, when he came home from work, he was like, oh, well, I have to decompress. I have to chill for half an hour. Oh, I have to go play my bass. Oh, I have to go do some art. Oh, I got to go out for a walk. Oh, I got to, this is the other thing. And I'm fucking stuck 24/7 raising a baby. Hello, the amazing, energetic Joshua. This is absolutely amazing. Okay. You see, men now are judging us for our opinion, yet they would 100% give up his whole family just to be with a woman who would make him happier. Would you ever try again if someone was interested? Someone else being interested in me means zero. It means a negative. It means absolutely nothing. I don't give a fuck if a man is interested in me. The only way I would ever consider maybe kind of even thinking about the possibility of getting to know someone, I'm not talking about dating. I'm not talking about sex. I'm not talking about marriage. I'm talking about maybe get to know you. I don't know. First of all, he would have to be vegan. He would have to be an artist. He would have to be a musician. He would have to be incredibly liberal. He would have to be, basically someone who probably doesn't exist. And I'm not interested. Like it would be so authentically, organically created. It would have to be somebody that I'm like getting to know over time in a completely non-romantic way where like, so it's just not on my list. It's not on my to-do list. It's not on my wish list. It's not on the back burner. It's just like, I don't fucking care. Hello, I am a man and I can tell you genuinely that I have respected every woman I've been with. Well, kudos to you. And you can have a biscuit. And like I said, there's probably a handful of men out there. I mean, if nobody's been faithful, then, maybe you suck. Maybe you are mediocre and not even that. Maybe I have been with men who've cheated. I have cheated. I have been with men who were faithful. I have been faithful. When you're with somebody that you're incompatible with, it's hard to be faithful. If you're not in a married, monogamous, truly committed, compatible, happy relationship, a lot of people, if not most people, are very immature. They don't communicate in a healthy way. They're selfish. They want to have their cake and eat it too, or how I like to say it, they want to eat their cake and then still have it. So, do a lot of people cheat? Yes. Where are you from, Kat? I am from the northeast coast of the US of A. But fuck Trump and fuck MAGA. Wow, he said respect. Oh, of course you should respect. Communication is number one. Actually, compatibility is number one. Compatibility is number one. If you're not compatible, which most people are not, nothing matters. You cannot communicate yourself into a happy relationship if you're not compatible with each other. And people think that compatibility is personal, but it's not. I have a video on my channel here. If you want to look for it, it's called Compatibility is Not Personal. A lot of the time, you're from Saudi Arabia? That's cool. Fuck Trump, and I hope you're safe. He is such a piece of shit. To me, you got to communicate with her person to figure out if you are compatible. True. That is true. You do need to, like, you have to be good at communication in order to discover if you're compatible. I agree with that. Amazing. But my point is, like, for a relationship to actually become a healthy, happy, sustainable relationship, the compatibility has to be there. You know, you can, if you can communicate really well and you're attracted to them and you admire them, and you like them, then you might be able to start something nice. But if ultimately you're not compatible, it's not going to matter. I honestly don't want to upset you, but not all men are like that. There's genuine people out there. I hope you keep that hope. I don't have any hope for, like, hope for a relationship means that that's an unfulfilled wish that I'm looking to do, to fulfill. So when I say I don't have hope, what I mean is, like, I don't have an unfulfilled desire to have a romantic relationship that has not happened yet, and I need to keep hoping for it because I want it and I don't have it. What I'm saying is that, yeah, fuck Trump. What I'm saying is that I am so happy not having a man in my life in a romantic way that it has altered my perspective of romance to where I no longer have a desire to have a romantic relationship. So it's kind of like, do I hope that I could get like $10 million? I mean, I really do. Like, it's not an ambition in the sense where I'm not like actively pursuing trying to get $10 million. I am trying to earn good money, decent money, and I would love to become wealthy. But, you know, I'm really more just focused on, like, getting clients that I can do the work for, that it's decent pay, great, interesting work, stuff I like to do. Do I think it's going to turn into $1 million, $10 million? No. So I don't, like, actively have a hope for it. It would be fucking lovely, though. If it dropped into my bank account, I'd be like, woohoo! So in that way, like, a super, like, so the guy that I imagine I would be compatible with, he's vegan. He's taller than me. And I say that coming from, because my baby's daddy is shorter than me. And physically, it just, like, I was attracted to him and it didn't bother me, I thought. But part of what I learned about that is, like, it made me feel really masculine. So, you know, it's just not, I just don't want that. And, well, I must apologize. I was just scrolling through trying to get rid of the algorithm that keeps me locked. What the fuck? Okay, bye. You can go, because why would you say some racist, stupid shit like that? What an idiot. Sorry, no, what I meant is I don't want a relationship either, but I don't think putting down the entire people just because you're past. Well, then you didn't hear me, James. I said I don't hate men. I hate men. I don't hate men. I have my brothers and my brother-in-law and the men that I work with and my sons. And there's like Don Lemon and Jim Acosta and all the men who I admire and I listen to them. And oh my God, Ricky Martin and Bad Bunny and like George Michael and Prince and like the list of men that I love is endless. That doesn't mean I need to date that motherfucker and bring him home. You know what I'm saying? There's a big difference between respecting and admiring people with penises and desiring to live with one. Like, I love animals. I love cats. I love dogs. I just don't want one up in my fucking house. I think us as women, we were raised to give up our standards, yet men don't give shit about nobody and would not give up their needs and standards exactly. And men are raised like that pick me Nick who I yeeted. So many men have this idea in their head that if they go to a job and pay some bills, that the woman can basically be their slave. James said, James Shrub. Sorry, no. What I meant is I don't want a relationship either, but I don't think putting down an entire people just because you're past. Oh, did I already read that one? I'm sorry. So I'm not putting people down. I'm not putting men down. I'm putting down the bullshit fantasy of what romance or relationships is. The bullshit concept of what marriage is in this country, or at least in the part of the country where I was raised. Now, did my mom and dad raise me specifically to think that way? No. Actually, my parents, like after all the trauma and the abuse, and then my biological mother dumping me, and then my real dad actually getting me. Wait, how did you? Oh, okay. You're like a fucking a sock puppet account where you literally have another account? What a creep. That is creepy. He want her pretty and maid and go give her a life for him and won't expect for less. Exactly. So what a creepy loser. Ew. An amazing creep. So what I really am hating on, it's not people with penises. It's the way people with penises are raised. It's the way that girls are raised to become women who have these expectations of, well, James, I'm not like, it's great. You give love and respect and care. But that doesn't mean that if you're an American, you can give love and respect and care. The point that I'm making is that so many men, maybe not you, but so many men are raised to think that love and respect and care still includes a woman belongs in the kitchen, housework is woman's work, the woman raises the babies, the woman is the social manager of the family, the woman does the shopping. The woman, like, there's a list of chores that come from being alive. You know, you eat and you shit and you shower and you sleep and you wear clothing and then like you accumulate garbage and recycling, and then there's like dust, and you might need to mow the lawn or shovel, and you have to clean the bathroom and like sweep and mop, and the list just goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay. And our society, thank you, Ger, Gerson Pina. My parents also didn't raise me and my brothers that way. We were treated equal at home. So, I am in the northeast coast. So this is what I'm saying. Like, so many people don't even recognize when something is ubiquitous. It's just always there. It's just so in the way of the world. It becomes like these hidden, unseen, just unspoken rules. Sometimes they're spoken, sometimes they're just like so embedded in the culture that you're not even aware of it, and you're like, oh, I love you and I respect you, but that doesn't mean that you still don't have a very sexist ways of expecting things, even if you're not aware of it. Pickle paws, that's kind of a cute and wet name. A lot of boys moms hold on to their son for too long and do everything for them where they eventually just depend on the mother for everything. Thank you, you're a longtime subscriber from Boston. That's cool, but how come I never heard from you before? Gerson Pina. You know what, Pickle Paws? I went out with this fucking loser. Ooh, he's so evil. It's been like 20 years and he was like literally harassing me recently. He was raised to expect that his wife was going to wait on him hand and foot. Okay, I need to go. Thank you, Kat. Nice to meet you. Thank you, the genius she. I hope I see you back again. I hope you hit subscribe and like and share. So he was like 30. We were 30 when we started dating. He was living with his parents. His mother was doing his laundry and folding like his underwear and putting them away. I'm like, ew. He was such a fucking loser. This motherfucking guy, he was rich, okay? He was rich. His parents owned like 5 hotels, a pharmacy, some other couple of businesses, and he was a loser. And then his mom was like, you're just trying to go after my son for his money. I'm like, bitch, you don't know me for shit. Like, you are stupid. I'm like, your son is a fucking invalid. He could actually walk around, but he was so useless. He was so, like, I'm like, you crippled your child. You raised your son to be completely incompetent in every way. And the only reason that he got through life was because his parents were wealthy. Every job that he ever had was because his dad gave him a job at one of the companies. He drove a Lexus that his parents paid for. All of his fancy clothes, they got him. Fancy shoes, fancy watches, his fancy hair. It was all from them. And I was just like, what a loser. So to your point about some moms holding on, yeah. And that was long before I had my children, but I was like, I am not going to raise my boys to be losers like that. Now, the truth is that here it is. I have these 2 teenagers. I am doing everything I can to try to get them to do their chores. I need to figure this shit out because they don't listen to me. And I'm like, this isn't right. And I have so much stuff to do. And but this is what I'm saying. It's like, I'm a single mom, I'm raising them, but they are out in the world where movies, shows, just the way you're treated at school, the way that, I've heard some women saying, like, when you walk down the street, or let's say you're walking down a grocery aisle, or you're walking somewhere and other people are walking, that a lot of women experience that as they're walking, if a man is walking towards them, the man expects the woman to go around. The man will just like bump into you. Like, he expects that he has the right of way and that you need to accommodate and go around him. And I don't. Sometimes I will if I feel like it, but sometimes I won't because, you know, fuck a man. I hate white men the most. And back to James. I think he left already, but he's like, you know, don't hate on all men. But I am prejudiced. I am prejudiced most against white men. Excuse me for rubbing my nose. Why? Because white men suck. White men are mediocre. White men have done the most harm to the most people in the world. Excuse me. White men are entitled. They are privileged. They are so, you know, so I live in a very racist, incredibly racist society. I'm teaching my white sons that there is no such thing as racism against white people. You can be prejudiced, you can be biased against white people, which I am. You're a good white man and your name is Johnny Blue Eyes. I doubt it. That's what you're leading with. You are probably overcompensating for your mediocrity. My opinion is that a white man, so I like to do a little bit of reverse racism. So if I meet a white man, you start like way down. You're down. You got to prove yourself. I immediately imagine that you're probably MAGA. You're probably a fucking privileged, mediocre piece of shit who thinks that women are there to serve you. Honesty, most of the time I'm walking home from work and it's mostly men who don't move and I have to walk to the side. So you're saying men do it to men too? You're just a normal guy? Okay. Probably. You're probably just an average guy. El Locochon. I'm a good brown man. I'll make you red rice and asada. What's an asada? I'm vegan. Red rice sounds good, but I don't know what asada is. So as I was saying already before, I love men, like in theory. No, I have my brothers and my brothers-in-laws and my sons and oh shit, never mind. We can't do asada. Tell me what's asada. Are those bowls? No. 2 snaps in a circle? No, it's beef. Oh, well, you can give it all to Jada because Jada has her bowls out. So. So, like, you know, as human beings, men, I don't know, you suck though, really. That's like saying I love black people, I have black friends. Who has black friends? You have black friends? I have a black mommy and niece and nephew and brother, and I'm so lucky. I have a black mom. Do you? You know, look at all these white men in Congress and in the Senate and in the White House and the pieces of shit. Me and my brother have different mothers, and it makes me so mad because whenever I see him, he's such a slob. It's annoying. Okay. Whoa, put your bowls away. Let's have some discretion. I don't think you get the point. No, I think I get the point. Is that you're trying to say that because I'm saying I like black people better than white people, that I'm the same as somebody who's like, I have a black friend. And, you know, that's why I hate white people because I have this pale skin. I don't identify as white. I identify as pink or peach. You see, when you see a white person, you like assume that they probably are racist. Black mamas know how to kid their kids. I mean, you can't handle the truth that most white people are mediocre, and like they have this privilege, they deny it. They actually inherently, like, they deeply believe that they're better than other people. Golly, grandma, what a big Adam's apple you have. Did you know that everybody has an Adam's apple? When you see a white person, you automatically assume they're the devil. Exactly. For Hispanics, it's 50-50. Do some. That's what I'm saying. I also automatically assume that they're probably a racist, privileged, rude person. I identify as Duvalin. I'm brown and white like a swirled Mexican candy. Okay. Well, I am pale on the outside, but I was raised by a black mother. She's Haitian. She is an immigrant. She's an American citizen. I thought only guys had Adam's apples. No, actually, everybody does. I'm black and white. You have mental health issues. Oh, says Johnny Blue Eyes, who I immediately clocked as a fucking mediocre white guy who's got nothing going for him except the fact that you have blue eyes. Your tapioca. Hi, Kat. Love you. Hi, Stephen Shem. Mwah, 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 mwah. You're one of my favorites. See, there's a guy that I love. You know, Stephen, I'm talking about how, like, you know, fuck men, I hate men, and but at the same time, I'm explaining that I really don't, like, for real. I have a black biological mom and a white father. Well, you're probably beautiful. So I have a mixed race family. No, I know I have privileges. Do I like it? Yes. Ooh, that is creepy. See, that means that you enjoy that other people are harmed at your benefit. I think it's fair. No, it comes from racism like cops, but not all cops are racist. To think all whites is bad is dumb mindset. Okay. You don't have to think that way. Professional football player? I roll. Everyone thinks I'm Hispanic. Well, that's similar to my brother. Thank you. I am my PFP is me. PFP. I think I know what that means, but I don't remember. I meant I don't think it's fair. I forgot. Okay. Okay, two snaps. If you like the privilege though, then you do think it's fair. Because the only reason you have privilege is because other people are getting harmed. So if you like it, that means you're okay with other people getting harmed. So my biological mother is not dead, although she's dead to me. She's a white woman. I'm Native American, Mexican, and white, but I look like a handsome Italian. So let's see. So El Locochon, is that a Native American name? Profile picture. Oh, okay. PFP. I think PFP is like a file sharing thing, though, too, isn't it? This message is held for a review. My grandma is half Native. So I was saying, my biological, do I like being a woman? Do you like woman privilege? What privilege is there? You really are kind of stupid, huh? Your toes red, too. So when I was 3 years old, my dad remarried a Haitian woman. And then when I was 4 years old, my white, fucked up biological mother abandoned my sister and I. And then my dad got custody. My dad and his wife got custody. My arm hurts, by the way. I got a couple teeth pulled a couple weeks ago. Snap, snap. You must be a man, right? Women privilege. You are. getting paid 70 cents on the dollar, being told what you can and can't do with your body, voter suppression. If you can't see it, you're blind. Okay. You're not a woman, are you? As a man, would you feel disrespected if I paid for the first date? Wait, what? I'm not a man. You, huh? So see that is like, why are you talking about who pays for the first date? There you go. That's, what does that have to do with an actual relationship? That's just like cliche idea of gender roles, and this is what I'm talking about. The cliche idea of gender roles is so deeply ingrained, and like I didn't even touch on like patriarchy. Patriarchy is so deeply a part of our society, and men are the beneficiaries. Just like I think it was the snap guy who's like, white privilege is a thing and I like it, even though, oh, it's not fair. Well, male privilege is a thing, and that idiot is saying that there's women privilege, even though obviously you're not a woman, so you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Hold on. Do you see how? Wait, what? You're so stupid. You better take her for a veggie burger on the first date, or I mean, if you don't want to pay. Oh, so you're saying you would split it? I mean, are you genuinely asking me what I think about like who should pay for a first date? I think it's like so dependent on the circumstances. Like, how old are you? What, how, like, how did you meet? Who asked who out? Where are you going? What are your intentions? What's your financial position at the time? Like, there's a lot of things that go into it. So, do you see how in a relationship? Oh, okay, so you're a loser. Snaps, you're so stupid. Not to discredit females, you guys have lots of things like, are you a child? I'm gonna twist your words by yeeting them. Boom. Look, I say it's whoever invites who. If I'm inviting, I'm paying. If you're inviting, then you can pay. Simple as that. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's hold on. My neighbor is like, I'll be right back. Sorry, my window is open and my neighbor's like keeps walking up and down the stairs, and like his window is like 12 feet away from my window, and then both of our windows was open, so I don't feel like him hearing what I'm saying. Let me see, scroll back. I missed a couple of messages. Your man is texting you. Look, I say it's whoever. Yeah, whoever. If I paid, I might say you get the next one. My neighbor's getting, I don't know, he kept going up and down the stairs. I'm like, is he listening to me? What was I saying? I was saying something. I mean, for me, like, there's different stages of dating, right? There's like the you love my lights, thank you. There's like the, when you first meet and you're first getting to know each other, and then, you have the whole like, oh, who should pay for the date and who should ask who out, and should I wait 3 days before texting, and should I text back right away, or should I wait an hour, or should I wait 7 days? There's all of that stuff. I mean, like, as you get older, you would like to hope that people get more mature. I'm having an issue where my neighborhood is very noisy and I can't sleep. Advice. get earplugs. I couldn't use earplugs. That would give me a headache. You could move. You could try to get some kind of soundproofing panels that you could put up in your room. I mean, if you really live in a noisy neighborhood and you can't sleep, then you should move. Anyway, so like when you're first getting to know each other and you're going out on dates and it's like, we're going to go to the movies and we're going to go to dinner and we're going to go for drinks and we're going to go to the museum. And you do all these things that like, once you get out of the first stages of dating, then, you know, you kind of start hanging out at each other's places maybe and doing more like at home stuff. And then like maybe you move in together. So like for me personally, like the whole idea of like, oh, would you date? Do you want to date? It's like, what's the ultimate goal? Is it to live together? Because I'm raising two boys. It's a lot of work. I have lived with a few men before, and I don't recommend it. I just don't. If you're a man and you're self-sufficient and you do your laundry, you do your cooking and your cleaning, you clean the toilet and you scrub and you know how to wipe your ass right and you know how to use a washcloth and you know you do all the things, great. You know, go live in your own house. You know, like I just the idea of having to live with a man, it's just so unappealing. And like I said, I just don't recommend it. I've I've lived with some messy men. I've lived with, let's see, the first guy that I lived with in my 20s, he was my first fiance. We were not compatible at all. He loved sports. He was like a sports addict. And that was when I was young and dumb and I was like, I didn't understand compatibility and I didn't understand that you can't just make yourself like something because you like somebody who likes something that you don't like. And like you can try that at first. And when I was young and I was like, oh, I'm a good girlfriend, you know, I'm gonna watch hockey with him. Um, and I thought he would reciprocate and maybe do a few things with me that he didn't really like, but he did for me. And then he didn't. And I spent 4.5 years in a relationship basically completely like I was so young and I like I mentioned I had so much abuse and stuff as a child and I've really had a long way to learn like who am I. And that's why like right now even though I've said I'm single and not ready to mingle and I want to stay that way and I do not recommend men um I'm in a committed relationship to myself. I am manifesting my SP, which is me. I am learning how to be a neat and tidy person. I am learning how to be more organized. I have a long way to go on that. I am learning how to parent. I am parenting my children every day, and it's a learning process. And as I'm raising them, I'm raising myself. I'm learning how to heal from my trauma. I'm learning how to earn a living doing things that I enjoy. I'm learning to improve the skills that I have that I use in my work so that I can get paid more money and get better paying clients and get more secure clients. Did you feel like you were being someone that you actually wasn't with that first bloke? Um, well, I felt um disassociated, which is kind of how I guess I lived like the majority of my youth disassociated. You don't want to my incredibly traumatic childhood, which included SA, sexual abuse, physical abuse, mental abuse, psychological abuse. I did a lot of dissociating as a little girl. And then when I suddenly went from living with my very incredibly abusive biological mother and that fake father guy, did you feel, oh, okay, to living with my real father, my biological father, and his wife, who is my mom now, the only mom who raised me. Is it fair enough? Because that's how I felt. Like everything in my life changed. Like completely. I was living in a new town with new parents. I still had my sister, but you know, everything, and I was only 4 years old. So I was like super disassociated. And then it was like I started to live my life when I was 4, almost 5, and I was like, oh, I was just born today. So I like disassociated from the first 5 years of my life for a long, 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 long time. So back to the guy I was dating when I was 20. I met him when I was 21, and we were together until I was 25. And we could not be, to tell you how opposite we were and are. He's now like MAGA. um you know, I was young and I was dumb and I was just like, he's cute, and you know, I had no sense of self and I had no concept of like what do I like and what do I need. I knew kind of what I liked, but I had no confidence in it. So it was very easy for me to just kind of try to mold myself into the girlfriend that I thought he needed. And then I was fucking miserable, which is fair. Okay, can I tell you something really important? I probably not. Day number 4, she's been up. What does that mean? So I started dating him when I was 21. I was working at a liquor store, didn't have a car, was walking everywhere on my feet all day. Um, super skinny and active. And then started dating him, got a car from money that my grandpa left me when he died. And then I got an office job, my first office job, and we started dating. And I started like, so I went from being on my feet all day, walking everywhere, to like driving 45 minutes to work and sitting in an office chair all day and driving home. And then me and him would like sit on the couch and eat Twinkies and shit. And I started to gain a lot of weight. And then we moved in together at some point, and then we were like just living together, and I started to go to school for art. But again, like he hated art. And so instead of breaking up with him and being like, we literally have nothing in common, I quit school. I quit art school. And I just got fat and I was so miserable. And then we got engaged. Like literally, when this man asked me to marry him, I was sitting there, and my mind was like, well, first of all, he took me to this park. There was like these stone, like a little like amphitheater kind of thing. And that's where we had kissed for the first time 3 years earlier. And I didn't even realize it. Like I was in love with somebody else at that point. Some guy I worked with that I wasn't really like, you know, I just had like a fantasy thing with this guy. And I was so miserable, but I don't know. I was stupid. I was young. I was like in my early 20s. Well, at this point I was like 25. And he took me to the park, and he didn't have a ring. And then he's like, you know, blah, 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 whatever. He said, will you marry me? And I was like, oh, stop it. And he's like, no, I'm not kidding. Will you marry me? And I'm like, cut it out. And then like third time, he's like, Kat, I'm not joking. Will you marry me? And I was like, in my mind, I was like, no. And then the next thought I had was, fuck, if I tell him no, he's going to be like, what do you mean no? And I'll be like, I haven't been in love with you for like 2 years, dude. And then he's going to be like, what are you talking about? And then we're going to break up. And I can't really afford this apartment without him, which is so sad. Because so these are the thoughts that are going through my mind. And so instead of saying all of that, I was like, yes. And then we went we went to a diner, and on the way into the diner, he picked up this like homes for sale, like one of those black and white printed free things. And we went and looked at a house that we saw that day. And then that, because we got involved in like this house, why weren't you honest then? Because I was stupid. I just said, like, I had such a traumatic childhood. I was so disassociated from like who I was. Also, I am like everything that I like. I'm like, I like to paint, I like to draw, I like pottery and photography. Like every single thing that I liked at that age, it was just art. But my dad was an artist, but he had been raised to like hate the fact that he was an artist. So even though he was an amazing artist, he had a lot of self-loathing. And he kind of made me feel like being an artist was like a problem. And then my mother used to literally say to me, don't end up with a loser artist like your dad. And what she didn't realize was like, I'm thinking like, oh, but I guess I'm the loser artist. So anyway, all of the stuff, all of my talents and skills and likes, I didn't appreciate them. I was like kind of taught like, just go get a job somewhere. It doesn't matter what you like to do. So it was only natural that I would start dating somebody who didn't like art, who didn't care about me. And, a lot of times people go with what's familiar, even if it's toxic and unhealthy. So when I was dating him, like I just had no concept of like what I needed to be happy, what compatibility was, what I needed for I didn't even know who I was to know what to be compatible with. But anyway, after we bought the house, we moved in. I started painting all these rooms, all these funky cool colors. And then I was like, I'm fucking miserable. And I was like, I'm going to go stay with my sister for a week. And then that week turned into 2 years. I was like, I'm over you. So that was my first ex-fiance. And then, you know, I've been spending a lot of years just doing like self-reflective, introspective work on myself. So I'm fully aware that like, maybe in a few years from now, I'll have a completely different perspective about relationships. And so I feel that I am emotionally unavailable, but I'm aware of that, and I'm okay with that. In fact, I quite love the fact that I'm able to focus my time and energy on myself. You like my sweater? Thank you. It's not actually a sweater, it's a sweatshirt. See, it's like fuzzy on the inside. It like matches the wall. It's a crew neck sweatshirt. I'm in like the I like everything like super baggy phase. This is a cute blanket. I have enough. I'm like sitting here with so many blankets. Oh, and I have my cute pajama pants on. Good evening, A. Rodriguez. So, unfortunately, many people go through life and they're not self-reflective, introspective people. They're not meditating. They're not sorting out. Thank you. It is comfy. I have like a million blankets. I got this giant pillow behind me. Look at the pretty pattern. Can you see it? Leaves and stuff. So most people out there are very unhealthy. I love oversized sweater styles. Me too. Although I like sweatshirts. Because as I was saying, I'm very sensitive. My skin is very sensitive. So there's certain fabrics I just like sweaters, like knitted sweaters. I hate that texture. Like so. I do not like to. I do have a few sweaters that I will wear like over something, but I hate the texture of knitted fabric against my skin. And I have a t-shirt on under here. Let's see. This t-shirt. But anyway, you know, most people have a lot of healing to do. And while it's true that you don't have to be, and it's kind of impossible to be fully healed, you don't have to be fully healed or even like all, halfway healed to be in a relationship, but you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So from that perspective, it's like, it's kind of impossible for me to be in a romantic relationship right now because, as I was just saying, I'm emotionally unavailable. So if I were to try to date, the only kind of people I would attract would be emotionally unavailable people, and then it would become a very unhealthy kind of dynamic, because you don't attract what you imagine would be the best person for you. You attract someone who's in the same kind of psychological heart space, mind space, financial, you might attract somebody who is in a different financial bracket than you, but they still have to be in the same kind of financial mind space as you. And again, going back to the reality, like, there's these romantic concepts that people have. So, I believe that in the society that I've grown up in, there's a very misogynistic patriarchy where, do I like oversized sleeves? I mean, not too much. I don't like those big poofy sleeves because that's very inconvenient. It gets in the way. These are big, but not like too big. Poof sleeves are just like, and flare sleeves. No, it's like so. And then there's also those long drop sleeves. It's like a fire hazard. Not practical. They look cool, but they're not practical. So there's all these different concepts that people have. Like, some women want to be the CEO and the breadwinner. Some women want to be. So, like, growing up, I never had a concept of. I really didn't have a concept of, like, I didn't have a mental vision of like what kind of family I would have because, like I said, I had so much trauma in the first 5 years. And then my mom was actually the breadwinner. My mom always had one like full-time regular job, and then she would do like side things. Like, she was a seamstress for a long time, so she would like make sew things. And then there was she was teaching French for many years on the side. She also used to sell jewelry, so she always had some kind of like thing going. And then my dad was a problematic artist who was raised to hate himself, and it's a fire hazard. um he was one of the most talented people I've ever known, who kind of, he was so emotionally damaged, unhealed. He didn't have emotional intelligence. He didn't know how to heal from his trauma. He had been raised by a crazy narcissistic fucking dad who was very successful, a businessman who was fit and trim, and he desperately wanted my father to be a football player. And my dad was 6'3.5", and at one point he was like 400 something fucking pounds, but he was always like 200 plus 300-pound guy. Like, he was a huge fucking guy, and he was built like a football player, but instead he would play Beethoven on the piano and paint and listen to classical music. And he was a super sensitive guy. He was a conscientious objector to the Vietnam War. He was a pacifist, and a white man who married a black woman, a Haitian immigrant. And he was just a super hearted, like, sweetheart, and he was raised to basically like think he was a loser because he wasn't some football player guy. What type of art did your dad do? He was so artistic. He painted. He could paint like incredibly realistic portraits that were very eclectic, but he preferred painting abstract paintings. And he also loved to draw, and he was like an illustrator. Like he would make really funny, like hilarious fucking stuff. He was so funny. He died, by the way. I'm gonna rub my arm because I got some teeth taken out a couple weeks ago, and they shot me up with like 10 shots of lidocaine, and it's been like traveling down my shoulder and my arm, and it just hurts so bad. So that's why I'm doing this. Um, so he was so uber talented, but then like he had so little self-esteem, and um he made a lot of beautiful paintings, but he mostly just like either hung them up in our house or gave them away to friends and family. He also was an amazing writer. He could write. Like I said, he used to play Beethoven on the piano, and Bach, and um but he just had so many emotional problems, and he just didn't. I mean, he spent a lot of years working for his dad's business, which my grandpa had a silk screening business, very successful. I'm sorry to hear that. I hope you're okay. Thank you. I'm on the mend. And then at some point he stopped working for his dad, and then his dad died. Um and my grandfather was married 5 times. He was a womanizer. He's a womanizer. And that was another reason my dad kind of hated it. Not didn't My dad absolutely hated his dad, but he carried the weight of that hate and the anger and the bitterness, and he just never healed. And I watched an incredibly talented, beautiful, smart, funny man destroy himself with anger and unresolved. Are you British? um so my dad was a really good example of me, of like what not to be, what not to do. He taught me a lot of things that I didn't want to do. I didn't want to make the same mistakes as him. Him and my mom, their romantic relationship was so he was in love with her. He was totally smitten by her. He was like goo goo eyes for her, heart eyes emoji for her. But at the same time, he didn't lift a finger. He and so by the time I was in high school, he was unemployed, and he never really. I mean, so she used to teach French, and then she got him like a side job teaching English, and but he never really earned like enough to really help. And then he had a lot of medical problems. He like all of his unresolved, not alcohol. He was not an alcoholic. He was like a foodaholic. He ate a lot of unhealthy food. He was very unhealthy, and then he eventually became. So he had like a slip disc in his back. He had a big fat belly, and he wouldn't go for walks, and like he was like, we would always say he was lazy, but now I like reflecting, I realized that he was depressed. He and my hair. I just noticed how my hair looked crazy. He told me at one point that when he was growing up, so like I said, his dad had married like five times. There was another few women in there that he had got engaged to, and they, that didn't work out, and there was countless, probably hundreds of other women. My aunt told me once that when she herself was like 8, there was like some kind of party at their house, and her parents were still married at that time. Her mom was there, her dad was there, and her father was openly flirting with another woman, probably some married guest. And that she was so young that she didn't really understand what was happening, but she was like, this doesn't look right. And like she could see her mom was hurt, and it was like kind of awkward and embarrassing. And then I think when my dad was like 14 or 15 is when his dad walked out on them. And so my dad had like a lot of anger because he had like 3 or 4 different stepmoms over time. And so, you know, my parents were like, they were married for like 37 years. In the end, he ended up being in a wheelchair for 15 years. Oh, so back to, was it drugs? No, like he didn't drink and he didn't do drugs, but he was really unhealthy. So he was overweight, out of shape. He slipped a disc in his spine, and then he ended up getting on like painkillers. And so then he eventually became addicted to painkillers like Vicodin and oxytocin and then he and like Motrin, and then he Motrin destroys your stomach lining. And then he ended up in the hospital a bunch of times, and then he was in a wheelchair for like 15 years. And so, and my mom was just fucking, she was his goddamn caregiver. And up until like the last 3 years of his life, she ended up having a live-in full-time caregiver. New to the stream. I love the room aesthetic. Thank you, Lane Hancock, WVO 1442. So, you know, he ended up getting addicted to prescription drugs, and then he had so many problems. He had like diverticulitis and diverticulosis, and then he had a colonoscopy, and he had, oh my God, there was like, I have had therapy. I desperately need therapy again. I've had therapy a few times. Like the first time I was, you know, my parents took us a few times when we were like super little, like after the custody switcheroo thing. There was some like court appointed therapists and like psychiatric evaluations, and when we were little girls, me and my sister. And then my brother was born when I was 8, and and then I have another brother. My mother had a son in Haiti before she had moved here, which we then later, he came and lived with us. So that's what I was saying. I have a very diverse family. My sister and I are pink because of our biological mother and dad. And then I was raised from age 4 exclusively by my pale dad and my Haitian mother. And then my brother was born. He's biracial. What's in Haiti? Why is it in Haiti? Question mark. No, we were here. She came from Haiti in her early 20s and met my dad and got married when I was a baby. And then when I was 4, my dad and her got full custody. My biological mother, it's been no contact. Almost since then. So I have been to Haiti 3 times. Not in many years, unfortunately. Hoodoo. So, you know, my parents' model of relationship, and, you know, your whatever like relationships are modeled in your childhood probably becomes some kind of like backdrop in your mind. Sometimes it's what you want, sometimes it's the opposite of what you want, but you end up gravitating toward it because, again, there's the idea of what you want, but then there's the reality of like what you actually attract. And sometimes what's really happening, like what's happening on the surface is one thing, but then there's like the underneath, like after dating several different guys and living with a couple different guys, and I started, like I said, self-reflective, introspective meditation. Were they religious? No, my dad was an atheist and my mom is Catholic, but she was like Catholic, married to an atheist. So she would go to church by herself. She's just very private about it. So we celebrated Christmas, but we never talked about religious stuff. We celebrated Easter. We never talk about religious stuff. She's just kind of like, you like my shirt? Thank you. Somebody else said that. It is super comfy. And it is pink, even though everything looks pink. See how it's kind of like soft on the inside? I'm very, very, very particular about fabric. I know how you feel. My body is broken. Too much physical work all my life. Oh, Patrick. Hopefully you're healing. You know, they don't tell you. Like, I know that this stuff is going down my arm because many years ago I had a surgery, and right before the surgery, the doctor said, well, we're going to put some kind of gas inside your abdomen so we can see what's in there. And then that gas is going to go like up into your neck and then your shoulder. And it's going to take a while to dissipate and it's going to hurt a lot. I think my kids are home. Oh, please hold. Or maybe I'm going to hang up. All right, I got to go get my kid.